This is Talk Business and Politics with Roby Brock.
Welcome to today's Talk Business and Politics Daily. I'm Roby Brock, joined by John Brummett of the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette for our Monday roundup, showdown, awesome debate and discussion.
We gonna debate?
Let's do it. Let's find something to disagree on.
You better tell your viewers quickly that you disagree with me on everything for your own good. You don't want to just...
I think the Razorback basketball team makes it into the NCAA tournament.
I do too.
Oh.
I think they may defeat Auburn tomorrow night.
You think?
Yes.
That's way optimistic.
I'm just a Woo Pig guy.
Oh
don't you know? I really am.
Not even going to go
Love
there.
my Razorbacks.
Let's pivot to Washington, D.C.
Yes.
We have seen guns, the NRA, a lot of conversation from congressional leaders about maybe something will happen. It does not seem like after more than a week, almost 2 weeks since this Parkland shooting, that things have cooled down too substantially. There is still a lot of pressure for Congress to do something. My question to you is, do you still think we will see a change in anything when we get to Washington?
Do I think we'll get a change in the culture and tenor of the debate, or do I think we'll get some law?
Do you think you'll get some law? Do you think that Congress will take some sort of action?
I believe that they will do the easiest things and things that I think in the end the NRA is not really against. I think the Trump White House has taken a pretty cynical approach. I think it looks like they're doing something, and they're doing the least that they can do. They're going to find a way to put some more information into the background checks. Something like that. I think this idea of not selling, of having an age of 21 for these AR-15s, which is the same federal law we have for handguns, I doubt the NRA will really go to the mat on that if that's what the White House wants to do. These bump stocks, they're not actually weapons. You could say that's not Second Amendment, that's an enhancement of the weapon. Those three things could be done, but that is the most that would be done, and it might just be two of those three. I think that the political tone, is so much that something has to be done. I think the Trump White House is trying to find a way to do something, but not do too much, and I think the NRA is just out here providing cover by just being strident, absolutely nothing, to make it look like they're going to do something. Any little thing is good, but it's not going to be a great deal, and it's not going to match what the country wants. You know, the remarkable thing, the nation is overwhelmingly in favor of significant restrictions on these weapons that fire so rapidly, that are the guns of choice in these mass shootings, and it's not. Just one more thing: the members of Congress, the politicians that you and I know at the state and federal level. This idea that they're beholden to the money that the NRA provides for their campaigns, I don't think that's it. I think Republicans have 1,000 different ways to get money, big money, soft money, unregulated money under Citizens United, Koch brothers money, conduit money. It's the report cards and the mass mailing to the membership. You've been out at the legislature. They all know what their grade is, and they all want to protect their A grade.
I think it's the vocal gun culture in Arkansas, too. You do hear from Moms Demand. They are up there at the state capitol. They are making an effort, but there are more gun supporters that will show up at a state capitol and drown out those voices in a way that I think it influences any legislator at the state level's public perception of what
maybe, but
sentiment is.
I think, to me, that's lesser than just the existing political pressure of this established grading system and the membership and mailing list. I saw Womack yesterday. You know, he's just...
I got a whole lot of maybe on that, and my takeaway in reading between the lines was probably not...
Nothing.
Nothing, yeah.
Yeah, maybe means nothing, and when he said, you know, we need to do something, we need to look at it, but that's a slippery slope. When they start saying slippery slope or the camel's nose in the tent, if we restrict these assault weapons to on the basis of age 18 to 21, is that the first step in a further erosion of our Second Amendment? When they start talking like that, they're not going to do anything, and they're afraid of the political repercussions, not oddly from the sheer numbers, not from the prevailing attitude, but the inordinate political power of the NRA through its grading system and mailing lists and membership lists. That, to me, is what it's all about.
All right, let's talk about another federal topic. Remember the Dreamers?
I do remember the Dreamers.
Remember?
I don't know that members of Congress remember them.
Well, we're coming up on a March 5th deadline that is imposed for doing something about the DACA program and doing something about these Dreamers. What's being proposed, John? What are they going to do? What's Congress going to do?
I don't know of anything. They keep putting it off.
My point, exactly.
Yeah. There's a Supreme Court action this morning, which was not unexpected. The Trump administration, the Ninth Circuit, a federal court in the Ninth Circuit had stayed the March 5th deadline and given the Dreamers a reprieve. The Trump administration went to the Supreme Court and said, can we skip the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals? And Supreme Court said no. This may have the effect, things are so screwy, this may have the effect of staying or delaying the March 5th deadline. I think Trump has the authority arbitrarily to extend it, and I think that he will. I don't think we're pressing up against a hard deadline, and I think that's one reason the politicians won't act. But this thing is just...
But isn't it amazing to you, though? It's completely fallen off the radar. It was the most important subject matter and contention of debate in a budget debate that we had for a while.
We shut
and then
down
afterwards,
the government for the weekend over it.
Yeah, and then we come back to it, and then they recess, and now it's not even part of the conversation.
I think two things. I think there's a thought in the back of their minds, it's not really urgent. I mean, and two, the debate is just, they're at intractable positions. I mean, there are Republicans like your guy, Tom Cotton. I know you, that's my standard reference.
I understand.
Who's Miller and
Who's your
Kelly.
guy, by the way?
None of them. You interrupted me. And I kind of lost my train of thought.
You said there's two things. One, they don't see it as being a very firm deadline.
And the other is the intractable nature of the debate now. There's a simple solution here. If back in happier times, you would say, okay, we've got a president who wants some kind of a wall thingy. Well, let's give him some money for that. We got plenty of money, plenty of debt and deficit to use. Let's give him some money for his thing. And then let's say the Dreamers, let's give them a legitimate status. You take care of the Dreamers, you give him some money. Simple, 1-1, go on. Oh no, we're tied up in the diversity lottery and and the Trump administration not wanting all these people to come here who are from blank hole countries, and then you've got what they call family or chain migration, and everybody is intractable and they can't get anything done. The center has held. McCain and others, and Susan Collins and Flake and a few, they've come up with a plan, but nobody wants to move on it. And I just think they think we really don't have to. We can delay this thing, maybe hang up in courts, and we don't have to, because they're both afraid of their bases. I mean, the political bases. Roby, that's what's wrong with the country. Everybody's got a base, and the bases are this far apart. And they're relatively small groups, but they're essential to both sides. So
there needs to be a fusion party.
There needs to be, or they need
60-70%.
Or we all need to get together and say, let's take 3 days off from our base and run a bunch of good bills through. Let's just forget but you can't though, because Trump's got nothing without his base, and Pelosi's got nothing without her base, and thus we have this dysfunction, and that's just where we are.
Cut right to the quick on it. I like it.
I wish I knew what to do about it.
Well, that's next. That's for another edition of our program. Let's take a quick commercial break. We'll come back and talk some state politics a little bit more specifically. Been some big news on Monday morning. I'm with John Brummett. We're back right after this.
Arkansas Electric Cooperative Corporation provides electric energy across 2/3 of Arkansas. This is an exciting time in our energy history, with incredible progress being made in renewable energy and storage technologies. As our energy portfolio continues to diversify, we'll maintain an all-the-above strategy to provide reliable and affordable electricity. Ever since the first light bulbs were placed in our members' homes, the electric cooperatives have been the solutions provider for our members, and we want to continue that well into the future.
Each day, the promise of our nation begins again. Arkansas and America, moving forward. I help make that promise a reality. It's not for everyone, but people everywhere depend on us.
Oh, I love you too.
Trucking delivers, or everything stops. And that's what drives me.
I did.
Welcome back to today's Talk Business and Politics Daily. I'm Roby Brock, joined by John Brummett of the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette. Big news on Monday morning, fairly big news. There's been a resubmission of the casino amendment that would use a big chunk of the money generated from it for highways. They're going to go from 3 counties to 4, 2 of which already have casinos, Crittenden and Garland County, and now you're going to be allowed to expand casinos into Jefferson and Pope County. Just 1.
Yeah.
Does this strike you as politically savvy in terms of its adjustment from the
Yes.
initial rejection?
Yes. First of all, you just said everything I know about it. So I haven't had a great deal of, it's breaking news this morning. But basically, I think I sat in this chair several weeks ago and said, we've had a bunch of crazy casino amendments, people trying to write themselves into our Constitution and creating their own LLCs. And this is a group that's smart. They've tied it to highway funding, which is very popular. And now, what it appears from this breaking news status of what we have learned is that they're going to 4, but that includes the 2 racinos, the electronic games of skill tied to horse racing and dog racing in Crittenden County and Garland County, Oaklawn and Southland, and they're essentially grandfathering them in.
And it sounds like
expanding them from
to allow
electronic
them.
games and skills to full-fledged, no kidding, we're going to go ahead and be the casinos that we are. And then adding in Pope and Jefferson County new ones, which may have the effect, and would appear from a first reading to have the effect, of neutralizing opposition from Oaklawn and Southland, which is one giant step toward passing any such thing. And when you think about it, when you were trying to open 3 casinos elsewhere in the state, that would be in competition with these slightly more limited racinos, or electronic games of skills, you were inviting a severe opposition from those 2 powerful moneyed interests. So I doubled down on what I said a few weeks ago.
To use a gambling pun.
This is serious.
Yep.
I mean, this one is, they're doing all the politically smart things to make this a viable proposal. There's a lot to be developed on this, one of which is why a casino in Pope County.
Russ Vegas, baby.
Yeah,
Russ
well,
Vegas.
Yeah, on the way to Fort Smith, you just stop off, I guess, and get a hamburger and gamble. But a first reading, this looks like a very smart political move, which tells me to tell you and the viewers, this is a real possibility of something that could come to pass.
Yeah, it's still got to pass. It's got to get approved by the Attorney General.
Got to get your language, got to get your signatures.
Collect signatures, and then it has to
Long way
qualify
away,
to be on the ballot.
But the political preparatory work seems to be sound.
Tomorrow, Tuesday, we will find out late in the day who the first 5 Medical Marijuana Cultivation Center award winners are.
Mm-hmm.
There are 95 applicants. There's going to be 90 probably unhappy,
Right.
rejected applicants there. And the state does not seem to have any mechanism for them to appeal the decision from the commission because of the sovereign immunity lawsuit. Do we have like a really, really big fiasco in the making here?
Possibly, we do. The Supreme Court ruled oddly, 5-2, several weeks ago, that the state simply can't be sued in its courts. Now, there's some people saying, well, they maybe not meant that. They may have meant just financial matters, and it may have just be matters that, well, we don't. What they said would seem to be pretty across the board, and the dissent from 2 justices, Baker and Hart, assumed that they argued that you're going too far. That they were essentially saying you're shutting down any sort of redress from against the state.
We've certainly seen in all the Pulaski County court
We've
rulings,
got judges
Piazza,
just
Fox,
summarily
Pierce,
saying, yeah, we're not. That's a suit against the state, and we've got this ruling. So, and you had Governor Hutchinson sit here a couple weeks ago and say he would just instruct state agencies not to invoke sovereign immunity. But in this
Which
matter,
strikes me as a pretty subjective policy there.
Well, yeah.
Maybe we will, maybe we won't.
yeah, unless we really need
Exactly.
it. Yeah, if we really need it. But in this case, this is a matter of a constitutional amendment. This marijuana thing, the governor can't run it. And in this case, as I said a couple weeks ago, some of this would come down to the lawyers representing the agencies who are from the Attorney General's office. And the Attorney General's office is quoted in the morning paper saying, we're not going to give away our strategy as to whether we would invoke that or not. It may be. This just invites lawsuit. You're going to have 5 winners for something that's going to be lucrative. You've got prominent people, we're told, involved in. And
we will learn the names.
We will learn who they are, and that's going to be interesting. And it's going to. Somebody's going to say this smacks of political favoritism or insider deals, and the natural thing is just part of the process. In a normal world, would be you seek redress in the circuit court, and it now appears, because you have to go to Pulaski County. It now appears the judges are just going to throw them out. Well, you can't sue the state, which gives nobody any option. And then you got a lot of money at stake. You got a few winners who may be prominent and well connected. You got losers who are going to think it's unfair. It's all about marijuana anyway, which has got people already thinking that this is a weird new frontier in Arkansas government. So, yeah, we could have some form of chaos coming up. We've got ample opportunity for it.
All right, and Alex Gray, the attorney who has been the lead spokesperson along with Nate Steele on the casino proposal, also has been pushing a sovereign immunity amendment. I think the thought process is if we're out collecting signatures, we might as well do two for one and get a little extra money there and take care of a potential problem.
Here's something to enable you to gamble. Oh, this is another thing, and it'd be that it would be an amendment to clarify that the legislature may waive the state's sovereign immunity, which is what the legislature has presumed to do by case law since the 90s. And it would fix this. It's got to be fixed. This is one of the most weird rulings by the Supreme Court that we have.
But perhaps literal as well. I mean, just maybe not practical in terms of its application.
What do you mean?
If you read what they're basing it off of, it's kind of pretty clear that it says you can't sue the state.
No.
You don't think it's that clear?
No, it gives the state the authority. It gives the state the final authority. I'll give you the legal argument. The basis for the constitutional basis for it gives the state legal authority to deal with suits against it, which to me and to many other well-trained legal minds, not just my well-trained legal minds, means that the state, as long as the state has the right to reserve the right not to let you sue, they can let you sue. In other words, it's up to the state how it's handled. It's a good legal argument, but we need to have it, and we need to have some sort of retrial or reconsideration of this by the Supreme Court, because it's just bedlam, confusion.
You see, I knew we'd find something to debate.
Okay,
so we found something. That was it. There, I took a different opinion than you initially there, but perhaps you've persuaded me to your side of the equation.
If I have the authority. If the Constitution vests in me the authority to keep you from suing me, then it vests in me the authority to waive that right and let you sue me. Don't you think? Maybe.
Maybe.
But somebody needs to settle this because we're in kind of a predicament.
All right. You remember a couple of years ago I sent you on assignment to go down to the electronic games of skill, and you fell in love with your virtual assistant at the blackjack table?
2 years ago. You're getting old. That was about 15 years ago.
I said a few years ago.
I thought you said 2.
It wasn't 15 either.
Yeah, it was shortly after the electronic games of skill entered for the lexicon.
I think I should send you on assignment to go cover the Bob Ballinger, Brian King Senate primary up in Northwest Arkansas. Would you be up for that?
You talk about, yes. You know why? Yes. That's some rough and tumble politics.
There would be
they play for keeps up there.
Some colorful copy.
And that's the classic Arkansas contemporary political battle between the extreme right and the extreme right. Those are your choices.
Ballinger and King, we got you on the radar on this one. John Brummett with the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette, as always, thank you. That's all for today's program. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next time.